Business is messy and unpredictable.
Sometimes lonely.
So lonely.
So lonely.
And inspiration can often come from really weird places.
We pick up where the bullet point blogs and the highlight reels leave off.
We start with the stories. Welcome back to So Here's My Story. I'm Jodi.
I'm Eliot.
And I am now 45.
You are now 45.
Well, so actually that's a lie. It's not September 1st yet, but because of the way that we do the recording, when you hear this, listener that I'm talking to right now I'm 45.
You know, I have to tell you, we were only 4 seconds into this broadcast and I was already confused. When you said, I'm now I was like, wait a minute, I know your birthday.
I know your birthday. Yeah, so for anyone who's a little confused, Eliot and I share a birthday September 1st. You will be hearing this, this episode will launch on September 4th. So I will technically be 45 years and 3 days old.
And I will be 55 years.
Are you exactly 10 years older than me? I thought it was 9 years. Oh, 10 years there. Okay, so 10 years apart, same birthday.
Wait, is that so now you have me second guessing?
I was born in 73.
Yeah, 63.
Okay,
right. Okay.
Yes, we're exactly 10 years apart.
Yay, math.
Yay, math. Do you know what time of day you were born?
I do not.
Oh, okay. I was born at 3:33.
Really?
Whatever, yeah.
AM or PM?
PM.
Oh, okay. Very convenient.
PM in the afternoon. Yeah. Yep. Very convenient.
It's very convenient. Nobody had to wake up. You weren't on the graveyard shift at 3 a.m., although I have read that the worst time to have any kind of medical procedure is at 3 o'clock because that is when brain waves are at their lowest. That's not when you want your surgeon operating, for example, at 3 o'clock because you're in kind of a malaise.
There you go. I was born on the malaise of September 1st, 1973. Yes. So we're actually not going off on a tangent here talking about birthdays because it's super relevant at the moment. So we are now, that also means we are 3 days into our birthday contest month.
Yes.
So I'm going to just give the super short version here, but if you go to our Facebook page, there will be, and also in the show notes and every place we have stuff, there will be more specific information on this. But essentially, what we want for our birthday, in case you've been wondering, you don't even have to wrap it. We would like everyone to tell at least one person about the podcast. That can be verbally, that can be on Facebook, that can be on Twitter. It doesn't matter. However you share things. If you enjoy listening to us, tell someone, maybe even help them figure out how to listen to podcasts, because that, believe it or not, for some of you that may seem really weird, but for a lot of you that doesn't seem weird because we have had to do that. I've had to show people. Somebody had to show me, actually. I think it's not the most intuitive thing in the world. So get someone else to listen to the podcast. We would love, if we did that, we would double our listenership, which would just make us really, really, really happy for our birthday.
Yay, math.
We kept it simple. We're like 1.27 times. It's just everybody tells somebody. So if you share it, either share it on Facebook. We're going to have a post on the Facebook group that if you comment there, that's how we'll know that you shared it. And you can just say like, I shared it. You don't have to tell us with who, whatever. Obviously, that's the honor system. There'll be instructions there. So if you comment on that post, that's how we'll do the drawing. The other, and I haven't even told you what the prize is. We'll get there in a second. The second way is to join the Facebook group. In fact, I'm debating giving like 2 drawings to anyone, 2 extra entries to anyone who joins the Facebook group. So you could get up to 3, 2 to 3 entries. So we're going to run this the whole month of September. You can get as many entries as you want for sharing. You can only join the group once, but and then at the end of the month, we'll do a drawing of everyone who has participated, and that we will draw for someone to actually come onto the show. We'll record an episode. You'll be our third voice. You can banter, chat. We might even, if you have a story, we could start with your story instead of one of ours.
And you will actually receive honest to God proof that this is unscripted. For those of you who still think after listening to all of these episodes that we write these things out.
I would point you to last week's episode if you have any doubts on that. And we might even throw in a pair of whiskey glasses.
We may do that.
And I was just thinking as I said that, for anyone who was like, oh my God, I was totally with you until you said it was recording an episode. If that doesn't sound fun, if we drew your name, you would also have the option of just having a hour-long chat with us or however, whatever. You could do it. We don't have to necessarily post it as an episode. That will be up to you. But either way, you can have a conversation with the 3 of us. So there we go.
There we go.
All right.
All right. Let me thank our sponsors. As always, Tom Loveland at Mind Over Machines, Cat's Copy, the architecture firm of GWWO, and Marycraft Staffing and HR Solutions.
All right. I think it's my turn today.
You have a story.
So here's my story. In addition to September 1st being my birthday, and this is why I wanted to check with you, because maybe I can't decide if it's a birthday thing that makes this time of year feel this way for me, or if it really is a back to school thing for me, or if it's possibly just sort of like the office supply addiction roll in of
We do share an addiction to office supplies.
So we may not be able to separate the variables of birthday and office supplies. But here's what I notice. This time of year, back to school time, has this very naturally occurring, and that's the part that fascinates me, like reboot energy for me. Far more than the beginning of the year. I go through the motion sometimes of, okay, it's 2019. What are my goals? And it doesn't do much for me. I literally woke up this morning with this like bing kind of like back to school energy, and everything just feels like fresh and new. And it is partly tied to those memories of, this will date me, like my trapper keeper. Did you?
Oh, that is, yes.
I don't know. You're 10 years older than me.
But I know the trapper keeper.
Yeah. So that my fresh trapper keeper, or, the new pencils, the new outfit for the first day of school. And, I have 2 kids, and we're in that whole back to school energy. And there's something about it that just feels like this clean slate, fresh start. And I even feel it with nutrition and exercise, and just, there's something about this time that feels like, okay, summer barbecue tequila parties. And then that sort of feels like the past. And even energetically with my to-do list, there were things that last week I looked at things on my to-do list and I was like, ugh. And I woke up this morning, I'm like, all right, here's the plan. Don't. So I don't, do you have that experience?
I have the experience that you described with your kids, the back to school, but I don't feel it that way. So let me break that down. This is my favorite time of year. The fall really is my favorite time of year. And I know that technically on the calendar, this isn't fall, but September always starts fall to me. And I love it. I love the brisk change. I love the Honeycrisp apples when they come this time of year in this part of the country. I really do love it. And I embraced the everything's new and the clean slate of going back to school when I was in school. I did. I still have that addiction to office supplies and pens and
fresh,
all that
clean,
stuff.
new office supplies.
And so
I'm like downright giddy. Like I'm like,
I love that stuff. Where I guess I differ from you is that, and where I'm envious is that I don't feel that. I remember it, and I love the feeling of it.
So for you, it's like Santa Claus.
For me, it's
actually, it's not like Santa Claus because you're
like
Jewish.
Santa Claus. Yeah, I mean, we could go into the Hanukkah chicken, which is a whole nother story, but no, it's the fact that I agree with you that January 1st doesn't do anything for me. The New Year's resolutions, and I have to get used to writing 2019 or whatever the year happens to be, But I loved that clean slate, and I love the idea of it, and I would love to learn how to manufacture it, create it, but I don't feel it.
That's so interesting. Well, that's actually what fascinates me about it is I don't manufacture it. It feels like
this, that's the cool part.
Yeah. So I guess we can end the episode now because I don't do it on purpose. So thank you.
Thank you. That was great. We're here all week. Please tip your waitress.
Well, no. So here's the curiosity I have. So So I made the joke about like Santa Claus, but it does sort of feel a little bit because it used to give you that energy, right? Like when you were in school.
Yeah, because you're actually
doing it.
It is a clean slate.
Yeah, it's like fresh classes, new teacher.
Now I know the teachers probably talk. Oh, you have that Wagenheim kid again. But otherwise, you walk in.
They pass along the binder of like, here's how to deal with
the purple stickers. But you've done, everybody starts at 0-0. You start, and whatever you decide to do, you can be great.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool. You don't have the baggage of past performance.
Oh, okay. Now you're taking this someplace really interesting. So that's So why? That's okay. So interesting here. Why on earth is that? Like, why can't you just decide that? I mean, I know there are some structures about school that provide a scaffolding construct around that. They are new teachers in theory, although
new subjects,
a new class, like a fresh grade. You're not literally carrying the grade from last semester or whatever. Right. But those things, so here's the thing. Just in the same way that those fresh constructs don't exist for us, neither in many ways do the things that they're leaving behind there. Like there's no grading system per se. Like the same things that you're leaving behind, I'm super not saying this well. We don't have those like fresh new start constructs to work with necessarily. But I also don't think that there's anything formalized that you're dragging along some ballast.
Well, no, not. I think you are dragging along ballast. And so, for example, if you're running a company, if you're in a company, you've got, chances are you have employees. Some of the employees, and we've talked about this before, some, hopefully all, but probably not all, if you would hire back. If they all tendered their resignation,
right,
would you reject all of their resignations, or would you accept some and think, oh, thank God that's over? So maybe some of your employees are ballast. Maybe some of your projects and clients where you don't love this thing that you're doing, but you love the fact that it's keeping your lights on and you're making payroll and all that stuff. So you don't get a chance to just craft your occupation out of everything you love and nothing you hate.
Sure.
You've got some ballast there. It could be that you wish, like my father practiced law in Anne Arundel County, which is close to Annapolis, Maryland, or around Annapolis, Maryland. But we lived in Baltimore County, and he always wished that he could move his practice to Baltimore County. And the point in raising that is maybe some of your ballast is, well, I don't get a fresh start because I'm still in the same place.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's so interesting because it still doesn't, I mean, there's no fresh start as fresh starty as like college, or if you change, like if you move and change schools, then you really are very much.
You can decide who you want to be.
A little bit. Yeah. Yes. You could dress completely differently, whatever. But outside of those circumstances, you still go into each new school year with some amount of like who you're known to be, or how tall you are or not tall you are,
what crowd you're in. And
yeah, I mean, it's not like you truly have this fresh, and yet there's still that can be that fresh start energy. I mean, that to me is the magic of this is there are very few places in life where you truly have a clean, unless you go to the witness protection program,
Right.
But that's a perfect example. Actually, I don't think we actually want a clean slate. I mean, somebody asked me the other day if I would ever move from Baltimore, and I said, I would absolutely consider it. It's not like I'm tied to Baltimore. I didn't grow up here. There are things I find very appealing about other places I would love to move. But I will say that starting completely over in, meeting new people and a new network, that doesn't exactly appeal to me. Whereas fresh start energy does, but I don't necessarily want a like witness protection level of fresh start in the world. So
no, I love the fresh start energy. And I'm not saying that I don't see that in certain projects.
Right. So I think it's possible. And I'm just because you took it in this direction, I'm literally thinking out loud here. I think that it is always a little bit possible. I think even in the most constrained situations, there's a place for fresh start energy feeling useful, or at least reinvigorating potentially. Okay.
So, and I do feel it this way. I'll just say that so for example, I'm starting this whole initiative with, putting together online courses. Okay. And that project is new to me. I can create an online course however I want to do it, and I can learn about it, and just the crafting of this and adding a segment to my business that I didn't have before. That is interesting to me, and it's fresh start, and it's exciting to me, and all the rest of it. So here's my question. You naturally have this fresh start kind of mindset because of the turning of the weather, or the turning of, or whatever it is, the turning of the calendar pages, or your kids picking out back to school outfits, or buying backpacks, whatever it happens to be. But what if you don't naturally have that? If it's within yourself, it's not a naturally occurring phenomenon, then what are the elements to it? How do you create that? Because it's obviously it's exciting for you and it's productive for you. And so what do you do?
Yeah. I mean, so my most honest answer is I don't know.
Well, thank you for playing.
Thank you for playing. But here's my suspicion. is recognizing where the opportunities for at least some amount of fresh start are. Like, I mean, if I think about this, okay, this is gonna sound like a bit of a tangent, but I was just having a conversation recently. Shut up, you, a tangent? I was just having a conversation recently with a good friend about the merits of either regret or guilt. And that, so my personal, life according to Jodi, I think regret and guilt are very useful in a singular instance, like almost as a crowbar. Like, I think they're useful as a instigator of recognition that something isn't right. Either you feel like you did something wrong, or it was bad, or it was selfish, or, whatever it is. So
you can do something productive, or
yes, it's like the check engine light on your car. Like, it's a ding, here's something to pay attention to and alter. I think they are utterly useless as something that you carry around with you. They're just weights,
which they often tend to be.
Yes, and so he was talking about feeling guilty about something that happened years ago, and that he can't get over the regret of it. And I get that there's not always something you can redo. That's a very complex thing, and I'm vastly oversimplifying it. But it's the same kind of thing of I feel like when I'm feeling sloggy, if I can find like any place to get a foothold on fresh start energy, which might just be looking to like, what portion of this is a fresh start? So to use some of your examples, like, yeah, maybe you're not head over heels about every single employee or every single client or every single
just as a disclaimer, I personally am head over heels with every single one of my employees and every single one of my clients. Anything to the contrary stated herein is completely fictional.
I'm glad we got that covered. But there has to be some piece of it that you can feel like you're coming into without that, as we said, like that ballast of stuff you're dragging along with you. Because that's how, school every single year, like I knew a lot of the people, I knew the teachers, there's still something, or here's a better plan. Maybe you need to buy office supplies.
Maybe
that's my solution for a lot of things.
But it's interesting what you say, we were joking around about it. Maybe you're not head over heels with about every single one of your employees, but maybe if you use your crowbar versus ballast kind of analogy, maybe the answer, if I'm not head over heels over employee A, maybe that's the reason to see if I can figure out a new initiative with employee A that, because I'm not going to fire him or whatever.
Or maybe you should.
If I've decided that I'm not going to fire him, right. And I don't want to quit then stay, right, as we've referenced. So maybe that is the check engine light that says, you know what, if I'm not head over heels about employee A, maybe I'm not working with, collaborating with, utilizing employee A's talents in the right way. And I've got to find a way to do that.
Well, remember that Seinfeld episode? Because it's been a little while before we made a Seinfeld episode reference, where George did opposite day.
Yes.
Well, it's a little bit maybe that. Because I think part of what made fresh, new school year feel different was that, it was a reason to get a fresh outfit. These things sound very surface level, but I think there may be some medicine in that. Like whether it's like, I'm not pretending that if you get a fresh, new outfit, everything will be better. But if you are feeling sloggy and stuck in a rut, sometimes having a new notebook or having a new outfit or coming at an employee with a fresh start kind of, and not all the things you believe to be true about them. I think there are ways to kind of hack your brain into feeling, to having a new burst of energy.
Yeah, I agree. And I actually really like this suggestion because as someone who doesn't, as we talked about from the beginning of the episode, as somebody who doesn't naturally feel that fresh start energy,
it's all starting to sound like a Summer's Eve commercial. Are you feeling not so fresh?
And I had just gotten my mind away from the George Costanza quote where he approaches the beautiful woman in the bar saying, "Hi, I'm George. I'm unemployed and I live with my parents." But maybe if you don't have that energy naturally occurring, then you can at least identify the ballast and the reason why. And if it's an employee, you can figure out, hey, I'm going to have a fresh start with that person and let's figure out something. Or if I don't like this project, I can figure out maybe my fresh start is I'm going to delegate it. And I'm gonna get away because I'm not, or I can look at it a different way, or I can bring somebody new into the team and we can all work together, or I can, but I think it is useful.
It's like, what's a new way I could come at this so it feels fresh to me? It's like
right, because if you don't naturally have that because of something that occurs outside you, maybe the way to create it within yourself is to notice why you don't have it and attack them individually.
I mean, this is why, because we're certainly not coming to this episode with like a list of answers. Here's your 10 steps to like blah, blah, blah. So, if you're listening to this and you have a way that you find some get up and go, some fresh start energy, I would really value hearing about those. You can post them on the Facebook page. If you're in the group, you could join the group. Get 2 entries in our September contest.
But wait, there's more.
You can email them to us at talktous@sohere'smystory.com. There's a lot of ways to submit your thoughts. And I would really, really appreciate hearing how you do this, how you find your way towards this fresh start, or if you just don't, maybe this type of year is, this part of year is meaningless for some people. But I don't know. For me, it's always like this exciting kind of new time. Also, because it's my birthday and I love my birthday.
I love your birthday too. So that's our story.
But the discussion doesn't have to end here.
No, it does not.
In fact, we don't want it to.
No, we don't.
That is why we actually have our private Facebook group,
which we started to make sure that we could get your comments, your rants, your thoughts,
your stories. You can find links to that group as well as show notes and links to subscribe via email and how to find us just about anywhere you can possibly find podcasts at sohere'smystory.com.
And you can also find us on Facebook and Twitter at SHMS Podcast.
And since we know it takes a village.
Yes, it does.
We'd like to thank our village, our super talented, incredibly patient team.
And occasionally snarky team.
Yeah, but in the best of ways.
In the best
Lovingly
of ways.
Snarky.
Yes.
Good mockery.
So a huge shout out to the people who actually help us produce our show. First, our sound engineer, Tom Hansen.
Thanks to Christy Schmier for our brilliant show notes and all the other fantastic writing she does for us.
And to Taylor Mathauer for doing just a little bit of everything.
Including wrangling us. Which is no small feat.
No, it's not.
This is Jodi Hume.
And I'm Eliot Wagenheim.
And you've been listening to So Here's My Story.